Hello and welcome back to Tony Northeastern. What we're doing, we're looking at an old video. I'm just going to pause it in the moment when we get to a certain part of this video, just to show you a section of track. Just about started this video on the 10th of June. I think we were into our first week in the heat wave, and as you can see, the track there is perfect, no kinks, nothing. And this was just about when I was about to do this pub. Right, so if we go over to where this is now, I just want to show you what the heat wave has done to my Trackwork. Okay, here we are. We're exactly in the same position as you've just seen in the video. But this is 3 weeks later, and as you can see, I've got a nasty kink on the right hand side. On the left hand side it's okay. This is the only place on the layout where this has happened. The joint is just about here, so I'm quite lucky in that respect. That all I've got to do is hopefully remove this ballast here and remove a section of the ballast about 4 or 5 inches this way, and see if we can straighten that track out. But as you can see, the joint has totally closed right up, and the joint next to it on the other side, there's a slight gap there, not a lot. Even that might start to go if it gets any hotter up here in the loft. But it's strange how this is the only piece in the whole layout is gone. Right, here we are further down Stevenson's bank, and on this side here the gap is closed right up, nice and tight, and here as well, nice and tight. Now, when I laid this track, must have been about, it's got to be about 2.5 years ago, I left a 2mm space in the rails, believe it or not, both ends. So I'm thinking to myself now, over a flexi length of track, which is roughly about 900mm, these rails must be expanding at least 1.5mm either side of the track, if that makes sense. So it's closed the gap right up, and it's here to think what kind of tension that's under. But there you go. Yes, there's quite a few people I know that are having trouble with this sort of thing, with the heat that we're having at the moment. Graham Folston, he just done a video on replacing a section of track due to the heat. Paul from Golgham Hall, he's having trouble as well. The hottest day up here was Monday gone, and it's Thursday the 5th of July now. So, and that has not gone back at all. So I'm going to repair that now. So I'm going to soak the ballast here and here, take the pins out, trim a little bit more off and put it back, if I can get rid of the kink out the rails, because sometimes you can't get the kink out of the rail once it's buckled like that. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just soak the area where I'm going to remove the ballast, and let the water sink in. To soften the ballast up. It's expecting some steam to come off the rails. Soak in for a little bit, and then we can start removing the pins while we're waiting. See the way that buckled out then? It's not too bad. Looks like it's bowed out a little bit. Right, we'll let that soak in for a few minutes, then we'll lift the ballast. Okay, now that the track's out, I'm going to let that dry altogether now, and when it's dry it should be a lot easier to clean up the baseboard and put it back. Okay, I think the kink is not permanently in the rails, which is good, but if you look how much the track has expanded, it's got to be an extra millimeter there. So maybe the gap between the tracks should be at least 2.5 millimeters. It might sound a lot, but you can see there I've got to take about a millimeter off that track, this one at least, before putting it back. And the other ones, well, there's a little bit of a gap there. Okay, as you can see, I've got my track setter back in position, which sets up the curve again, and I'm just going to take a 1.5 millimeters off the end of the track and then slide it back into the, so I'll have some sort of expansion in the rail. It's not a lot. I'm just going to use my cutters for this. Okay, and I'll just file the ends, get them nice and flat. Just take any burrs off as well. If you're doing this, make sure you got a tight grip on the rail, because if you slip you could push the rails out of the chairs. So just make sure you got a really tight grip. Just got to make sure that you've got no ballast back in the rail joiners, otherwise that will stop your track work going back in. More on the inner rail. So hopefully by trimming off this little bit, will be enough. Try again. Right, the kink's gone, and as you can see we've got roughly about 0.5 millimeters worth of gap, maybe 1 millimeter. So that should allow for any more expansion. So I think I'm happy with that. I'll pin the track back down and then reballast it. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm just pressing really hard on the track and rocking it backwards and forwards. So if there is any ballast trapped under there, it'll either get crushed or pushed to one side. Okay, that looks a lot better, and won't be long before the services start resuming, going back to high shields. Okay, while I'm in this area, I might as well finish the bridge off, because it was never finished. I always intended to put in a central girder plate in the middle here, so might as well do it now. So it's been a little bit of a blessing in disguise, having this track sort of buckle on me. Okay, and now that the ballasting has been completed and the extra girder plate in the centre of the bridge has been done, and the walkways have also been added. We're ready for trains to move again. Still got a little bit of weathering to do on the ballast and the extra girder plate, but yeah, I'm glad I managed to do that little simple fix. And there's still a gap in the track, which is good. Right, hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and I'll catch you again next time. I'm off to the pub now.